I mean, we are just going like this.
China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America.
And that would just let this place get as weak as it possibly can, and then I would pull the trigger.
I think our army would be mostly scared to do anything in that environment for fear of overstepping boundaries as opposed to actually defending against it. That would be a scary scenario. Do you know where all the weapons are on bases? They're not in the hands of guys.
Yeah.
The armorer's got a key, and you don't get to touch it. So it's not. Eventually over time they'd be mobilized per se, but I think our army would be mostly scared to do anything in that environment for fear of overstepping boundaries as opposed to actually defending against it. That would be a scary scenario.
I think it hasn't happened yet because we are weakening at a pace that nobody's seen before. I mean, we are just going like this. And so, I'm sure you're familiar with war games and simulations. And so when it comes, I'm not saying that terrorist organizations would have that, but Russia has that, North Korea has that, Iran has that, China has that. And so I think if I was them, what I would do is I would put in the scenario I would war game it and see what the probability is that we're going to come out on top. We being China, Iran, Russia, whoever. And I wouldn't make a move until after this election because they know what's going on. They see it. They know that, look, nobody made any weird moves under Trump. Not that I'm aware of. I could be missing something, but I don't remember any. And then as soon as they got in, Russia went after Ukraine, tensions with Taiwan getting stronger, the border, Israel, like all this shit. Everybody that wanted to make a chess move on the board did it as soon as Trump was out of office. And we're seeing the country in decline, like it's never declined before. And so if I was them, I wouldn't make a move. Here's when I would make my move. I would make my move the first day that Trump is in office, because that would be the weakest point before we start to see an incline. And if they don't, if Kamala gets in there, I would wait another 4 years. You could just let it keep declining. And that would just let this place get as weak as it possibly can. And then I would pull the trigger. And I think that's when we'll see it. I think we'll see China go after Taiwan. I think we'll see the coordinated attacks from these terrorist organizations. I think Russia probably has more up their sleeve. Iran, Korea. What do you think of that?
Because we're dealing with enemies with long memories.
And they can keep wargaming this, and I forgot to bring this scenario up. They keep running this scenario through. They put in the latest data, and they just increase their probability of winning the longer they wait. Unless we get a stronger leader that starts to turn the ship around. And all the signs are already there with our military. I wish I would have checked these numbers before we jumped on today, but China's Navy is astronomically bigger than what we have now at this point. They're building, I can't remember, is it like a new aircraft carrier every year or every couple of months or something like that? We can't do that.
The Pentagon is in the book, the exact amount of years, but in the past X number of years, 10, 12, 15, the Pentagon has a perfect record in all of its war games against China. We lose every time inside the Pentagon war games. We know what our real capability. You see, we didn't even get to this part of the war on warriors. The military-industrial complex, the way we procure weapon systems. We're always, the way our system works, the way our bureaucratic system works, where the speed of weapons procurement works, we're always a decade behind in fighting the last war. Whereas China, we have what did Rumsfeld say? You go to the war of the army you have. We have the army. China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. Take hypersonic missiles. So if our whole power projection platform is aircraft carriers and the ability to project power that way strategically around the globe. And yeah, we have a nuclear triad and all of that, but a big part of it. And if 15 hypersonic missiles can take out our 10 aircraft carriers in the first 20 minutes of a conflict, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And if they've already got us by the balls economically, which you pointed out very well, with our grid. Culturally, there's plenty of elite capture going on around the globe. I mean, and then microchips and everything. Why do they want Taiwan? They want to corner the market completely on the technological future. We can't even drive our cars without the stuff we need out of China these days. I mean, they have a full spectrum, long-term view of not just regional but global domination, and we have our heads up our asses.
Yeah.
And that's the terrorist threat of our border. By the way, China probably has more people here, as many or more than these terrorist organizations planted.
You know
inside
what they're
our country.
doing now? They have all these crypto scams. They're trying to suck all the money out of the country now. So they have all these crypto scams going on, and people are falling for it. And I'm not talking like chump change. I'm talking millions and millions of dollars. They come around, and basically what they do is they try to get you to invest in Bitcoin type crypto stuff, and they'll be like, hey Pete, give me 15 grand. I'll turn it into 45 in 2 weeks. You give them the 15 grand, like, all right, I can gamble that. And then they bring you 45 grand. The next one, it's 200,000. The next one's $1 million. And then the $1 million happens and it's gone. And so they're funneling all the cash out of the country. This is a big thing that's happening right now in this county. I just got briefed up by
I'd
the
not heard
Williams
that.
County Sheriff's Department on
Interesting.
this. Yep. And this shit's, I think they just did they tracked a guy all the way to Vegas who was just bouncing from state to state to state doing this, and picked him up. And it's happening all over the place. They really have us from just about every angle.
And they have a grand plan and a grand strategy to. They believe the whole 20th century was anti-Chinese. The whole architecture, the whole security architecture, from NATO to the World Bank to everything, exists to serve America's interests, which in some parts they did exist to serve the interests of the winner. All those institutions, of course, have been totally corrupted and all of that. But originally, they were meant to create a strategic architecture that reinforced the dominance of the West. So they reject all of those things, and they are seeking to. The only way they can implement a structure that serves them is by defeating us, and they know that, and they're ambitious enough, the leaders, Xi Jinping and others in the CCP, to put in a plan to do it. And we're too busy. And then we, not only do we not do anything about it, but we let in TikTok where they can trans our kids and they don't trans their kids.
Yeah.
This is why and not just because of this, but like my faith has become so much more important to me than politics, than the day-to-day grind, because we can invest all our time and all our energy in a political outcome, and it's not going to save us. So I'm grateful to know who my Lord and Savior is, and ultimately we know who wins the victory there. But it doesn't mean we don't need to still be actively involved in every way we can.
We still got to try.
Absolutely.
I'm with you, though.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.